shifting topics, which is why I became an activist for climate and the environment, and because I have a platform and it's something I care so deeply about, and not enough people know it. For example, okay,
you're making a segue for me.
Forgive me for doing that. But
take it away.
Anytime. I'll be a co-host.
You're hired.
Thank you. Anyway, so I live near the forest. The forest has been my neighbor in Idaho for more than 38 years. So I feel like I know the forest. And what I've seen happening is that the Forest Service is a facilitator. And it's been over different presidents, and it's institutional over different presidents and different parties. The Forest Service facilitates logging in our national forests. And like intact forest ecosystems are a natural climate solution. And the reverse happens when they clear cut, as is on the screen, when they clear cut a forest. The reverse happens. They're releasing as much carbon into the air annually from logging as from burning coal in the U.S. So when climate activists talk about fossil fuels, yes, fossil fuels, but do not ignore that logging is contributing mightily to carbon emissions.
And you've been at this for decades. Just last year, I want to show our viewers, Carol testified at a congressional hearing about this very issue. Take a look.
Coal, oil, and gas get a lot of attention, but logging is also a huge emitter of carbon. And taxpayers have been subsidizing clear cutting in our national forests for under multiple presidents from both parties for decades. It's institutional. In the United States, annual emissions from logging are comparable to the amount emitted from coal.
So, Carol, I think that was the fourth time over the years that you've testified before Congress. You always come prepared. You gave us our own handbook here of materials. Have you seen movement over the years? Have you seen movement recently from Congress, from the government, to sort of push things along in the direction you're urging them to go?
I have seen movement in the wrong direction because the Forest Service is very good at coming up with euphemisms for logging. If they say restoration, that's what happens, what we saw on the screen, the clear cutting. When they say wildfire risk reduction, forest management, and their newest word is treatment, strategic treatment. All these words are like, why do you need to interfere with the forest? If you leave the forest alone, yes, it may have fires. And if you want to protect communities, you do it from the community. You do something called hardening homes. And that's like you get a metal roof or a compound that's fire resistant on your roof. You ember-proof your vents, and you clear defensible space. You can about 60 to 100 feet, maybe a little more than 100, but that will protect the communities and the homes. But instead they say, no, we need to thin the forest. And they often do, quote, thinning, which is logging, which is often clear cutting. They do that in the forest, not really near the community they're trying to protect. In other words, the timber industry and the Forest Service are sort of partners in this endeavor. Let's keep the public thinking that we're doing something that's going to help them. That isn't necessary.
So we know President Biden last year passed in the Inflation Reduction Act some significant climate change legislation, which was billed as a good first step for a lot of things. But what concretely could this White House do, now the divided Congress, so perhaps it would have to be done on its own, to help with this issue?
The divided Congress won't do anything to help on this issue right now. But President Biden can issue an executive order ending commercial logging in our national forests. And I would ask people to go to whitehouse.gov/contact and tell the president, end commercial logging in our national forests.
A dogged activist on this issue and will continue to be, as you have been for many, many decades, living in Idaho and seeing this up close. Carol King, it's always so great to see you. We've got our homework. We'll get back to you. Ready for the test. Good to see you, Carol. Thanks so much. We'll be right back with more Morning Joe.